everybody, this is the Wikstrand. So Tommy Lee Jones was at this point on the verge of becoming typecast. This was almost becoming a joke. Here he is again chasing yet another guy on the run, and at this point he was simply too old for this thing, because a decade earlier in The Fugitive you could kind of sort of believe that he could run after middle-aged Harrison Ford, and it was almost a even sprint. But in this case he's 10 years older and is chasing through Portland after Benicio del Toro, who is way younger than Harrison Ford. He was simply a little bit too old for this movie. It's one of the small problems that makes this movie not as good as it should have been, but it is a good movie. Let's find out if you think you're going to like this or not. This is The Hunted. So in this movie's beginning we see Aaron, played by Benicio del Toro, who is infiltrating this place and kills a bunch of Serbian assholes in Kosovo during the civil war in Yugoslavia. Many years later, people are dying in the dense forests of Oregon, and the authorities have problems, capturing this guy and who is killing these people and, for what reason. And they bring back not Sam Shepard but Bonham from the even more dense forest of British Columbia in Canada. This is, the bearded, very gruff and very sour Tommy Lee Jones that is, coming to the aid of FBI. And he discovers that, it is Benicio del Toro, aka Aaron, who he trained in the art of combat and the art of survival, who is doing this. And just when you think that there's going to be an awesome showdown between master and student, Connie Nielsen and her FBI agents interferes with the whole thing, not for the first time by the way, and they take him away. The thing is that they're having these conversations with Aaron and thinking about what are we going to do with this guy, and then the Justice Department shows up all smug looking and stuff like that and interferes even more, and they take him in the armored car and then they're gonna take him away because reasons. And as we all know, you cannot transport a prisoner in a movie. They will escape, whether or not they are the bad guys or the good guys. Escape is inevitable. So now we're back to square one. Will Bonham be able to, stop Aaron before he kills even more people? That's essentially what this movie is about. By the way, Aaron used to be this operative for, some shady government operations. We'll get to that in a second, which of course complicates matters even more. Now, I will say this. I really like the feeling of this movie. The damp, wet forests and the very rural feeling this movie has. The start of this movie is great. Fantastic gore, fantastic violence, creative tension, and I really love both Benicio del Toro and Tommy Lee Jones in this movie. It's a little bit a shame that Connie Nielsen's only job in this movie seemed to be to, interfere, so we don't get the fantastic confrontation we all want between Aaron and Bonham. She's not a cock blocker, she's a knife blocker, because the weapon of choice for good old Aaron is close combat and especially knives. The thing is that this movie has a very good start and it's a very good finish, but in the middle of the thing it feels like a downgraded version of The Fugitive set in Portland, where we have the more, urban setting rather than the more forest setting, which is more interesting and more unique. I didn't, thought that part of the movie was very good. This is also the part where we have, Aaron's relationship with this woman and this child that is not, explored enough, because you see, we have basically two different movies that they're trying to do at the same time. We have the survivalistic showdown between master and student, and we also have the story of, you know, the government's involvement in the whole thing, and, you know, the operations that it done, and the, you know, operations that went awry, and all that stuff that has happened in between. It feels like you could have done a big story about this, or you could have done a very small, very personal story of basically just two people that really matters in this movie, Tommy Lee Jones and Benicio del Toro. Everybody else is not very important, if I may say so. They're not bad, and they're not badly written. They're just not that important. We just want to see these two guys fight in the forest of Oregon, setting traps for each other, trying to outsmart and outmaneuvering each other and stuff like that. And because this movie clocks in at a very reasonable 94 minutes, you cannot do the big story within the small movie and also have the you know, epic showdown at the same time. You have to pick a lane, and they try to pick both at the same time. Luckily for us, the end of this movie is absolutely great, when both men start to, you know, make their own knives for the final epic showdown. Many critics ridiculed that entire sequence and thought it was absolutely insanely stupid and almost laughed about it. I thought it was cool, and I thought it was believable, and I also thought that there was some practicality towards it. And it made for some very compelling viewing. If you've never seen The Hunted, this is a movie that I think you should watch, because there is the ever so slightly chance that you will think that this is absolutely great, and you will see a different and better movie than I did. This is still a good movie, by the way. But if you have seen it, there is really no point in rewatching this movie, because you will get the same feeling the second time you're watching it, and once you've seen it, you will almost instantly forget that you ever saw it, because the movie is not allowed to really simmer in its unusual and cool setup, more relying on the, you know, traditional chasing and governments and the special operations and what have you not. I think that The Hunted is a good movie that could have been a fantastic movie, but we have to work with what we got here. Good production, fast-paced. Tommy Lee Jones is really good in this movie. Benicio del Toro is really good in this movie. Everybody else is quite decent, and some of the action sequences are very good, and especially the violence really makes you feel the violence. This is a bit of, you know, less is more type of an action movie, and it is maybe more of a thriller with action in it rather than an action thriller of the traditional sort. And I think that this movie wraps up very well, and it's a solid movie from very reliable veteran director William Friedkin, who has had, you know, such movies as The French Connection and The Exorcist on his resume. And this is just another of his really good movies, even though I think he has done better movies in the past. I will still, despite some of the negativity I have highlighted in this movie, still say that this movie deserves 62 points. There is a lot that you could have done here with, you know, the reasons behind what happened to him and stuff like that, and you could have easily made the backstory into almost, you know, a separate movie. But as I said, we only have 94 minutes to go, so we're gonna have to work with what we got here. So have you seen The Hunted? What do you think about it? Comment below, and I'll see you next time from, well, so-and-so reviewing, well, such and such. Thank you for watching. Thank you very much.